All right, we're diving into some, well, let's just say interesting stuff today. SCP-003. Even for level 2, this is some next level stuff.
Yeah, when I saw this file, I thought, okay, someone upstairs wants us in the loop, you know? Division 7, we deal with the old stuff, the ancient mysteries. But this has implications even RAISA doesn't like to talk about.
Right. This isn't just some artifact gathering dust in a vault. This is LK-class restructuring event territory. The kind of thing that could rewrite reality as we know it. And they declassified this file specifically for us.
So no pressure, right?
Right. Better understand this stuff, just in case it's us on the front lines next time. So SCP-003, 2 parts to this whole mess. First up, SCP-0003-1, Think, organic motherboard.
Ugh, I've seen the pictures like someone took a pile of chitin, hair, fingernails.
The works. And somehow it's all wired together like some ancient circuit board.
Except older than any circuit board by a long shot. Analysis puts it at well, let's just say it predates recorded history. By a lot.
Okay, so prehistoric biocomputer, got it. Already creepy. But it gets weirder because they're saying this thing isn't just some relic, it's sentient.
Or at least displays signs of sentience. Communication is difficult, to say the least. Which brings us to SCP-0032, the other half of this equation. This is where you come in. What can you tell us about this ancient computer?
I mean, it's old, right? Really, really old. And keeping this biocomputer in check, that's got to be one powerful system.
You have no idea. Picture this. A stone tablet. Huge. Yeah. Covered in these glowing runes. Nobody's been able to decipher them. Best guess. It's some kind of containment device. For SCP-003-1.
So we've got a sentient biocomputer older than dirt, and it's being kept in line by an ancient supercomputer we can't even understand. Yeah, this is why they put us on this case.
And here's the kicker. SCP-0032, it's losing power. Has been for centuries, apparently. They've got it hooked up to our generators now, but what happens if the lights go out?
What happens when the thing keeping a lid on a potentially reality-bending biocomputer finally goes kaput?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Well, the document, it lays out the containment procedures. Let's just say they're intense. First things first, temperature. 35 degrees Celsius, minimum.
Hot, 35 degrees, that's like sauna levels of hot. What happens if it gets a little chilly in there?
Think of it like putting the biocomputer to sleep. High temperatures, they seem to keep SCP-0031 in check. Dormant, like a computer going into low power mode when it overheats. Okay, so keep the ancient reality rewriting thing from getting any ideas by keeping it nice and toasty. Makes sense in a weird way.
Yeah.
But you said intense procedures. We both know the Foundation doesn't just crank up the thermostat and call it a day, right?
Oh, absolutely not. There are emergency protocols. If the power goes out, if the temperature drops, they have to interact with SCP-0031 directly, physically.
You're kidding. They have to, like, cuddle a giant sentient motherboard to keep it warm. Talk about an occupational hazard. But it's not just about temperature, is it? You mentioned sterilization protocols, too. What's that about?
Even microscopic organisms, they can have unpredictable effects on SCP-0031. Dangerous effects.
So, like, you could catch a cold. Or worse, what is it about organic material that this thing reacts to?
That's where things get really interesting. Unsettling, actually. SCP-0031, it doesn't just exist. It grows, changes. The document calls them growth stages. And organic material. That seems to kickstart the whole process.
Okay, this isn't just some weird sourdough starter we're dealing with.
No.
What kind of growth are we talking about exactly?
Core stage is all about rapid expansion. It consumes any inorganic material around it. Imagine like a giant metallic starfish, 15 meters across, maybe more, and it just keeps growing.
And that's just the first stage. I'm guessing it gets worse.
Oh yeah, it scans its environment, analyzes everything, but then second stage, that's when it encounters living organic material. And that's when things get really strange.
So our ancient biocomputer develops a taste for veggies, and suddenly it's ready for the main course.
Yeah.
Us. I'm almost afraid to ask, but
yeah.
What happens then?
It's not just consumption, it's more like assimilation. The document suggests it tries to template itself, based on the life forms it encounters.
Template?
Copy. Mimic. It's like it's trying to understand these life forms by becoming them. And the more complex the organism, the more SCP-0031 seems to focus on it.
So it sees us, humans, at the top of the food chain, and we're the ultimate prize. The final level boss in this whole nightmare scenario.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Here we are studying it, poking and prodding, and it might just see us as another puzzle to solve, another step in its evolution.
Okay, this is just getting worse and worse. So we've got this biocomputer trying to become the best version of us it can be, and we're the guinea pigs. But what about the other half? The ancient supercomputer, SCP-0032, is just letting this happen.
That's what I find fascinating. Throughout all of this, SCP-0032 is firing off these bursts of radiation. It's like it's trying to stop SCP-0031 from growing, from changing, like an internal struggle.
Creator versus creation? A cosmic game of tug-of-war with humanity stuck right in the middle. And, you know, we can't forget about those connections to other SCPs you mentioned earlier.
Yes. The file, it does mention similarities between SCP-0031's biology and a few others. SCP-003, SCP-1512, SCP-2756.
Of course, they redacted the good stuff. But come on, they wouldn't even mention other SCPs unless there was a reason, right? What's the connection? What are they hiding?
Imagine looking at a single star in the night sky. You think it's just one star, but in reality, there's an entire galaxy up there. A whole network of connections, stretching out further than we can comprehend. SCP-003, it's just one point of light in a much bigger, much more terrifying constellation.
It's like we're trying to chart an ocean, but all we've got are a few blurry photos and a whole lot of guesswork. We know there's something massive down there, something vast and complex, but good luck figuring out what it really is.
And that's where this incident report comes in. Buried deep in the file. Incident report A21B, cycle 8. This is where those connections, those attempts at communication, they actually broke through.
It's heavily redacted, even for us. But what they do tell us, chilling stuff. The whole thing revolves around a Dr. Tilda Moose, lead researcher on Project M03 Gloria, which, if I'm reading this right, was all about talking to SCP-0031. Two-way communication. That's some brave or crazy science right there.
Dr. Moose, according to her testimony, she experienced SCP-0031's communication firsthand.
Okay, how? What was she picking up? Telepathy? Sensory overload? What are we talking about here?
Her testimony, it's fragmented, almost incoherent in places. But the message is clear. SCP-0031, it doesn't think like us. It doesn't feel emotions.
So what, like trying to explain colors to someone who's been blind their whole life? We're just wired differently?
More than that, it's like its entire understanding of reality is fundamentally different from ours. The building blocks of its consciousness are just beyond us. And yet, there's one thing it made perfectly clear. SCP-003-1, it wants to remake the world.
Remake it, yeah.
Into a paradise. It's paradise. Molded by an intelligence that doesn't understand human needs, human desires.
Okay, hold on. This thing, this entity, whatever it is, it wants to reshape reality into something it understands, something that fits its alien perspective. And we just happen to be standing in its way.
And here's where it gets really strange. The containment breach itself, the details are redacted, but there's mention of an individual, someone claiming to be acting on orders from 0510.
0510, but weren't they, removed shortly after this incident? Always was a shadowy figure, but this suggests something even deeper is going on. Factions within the Foundation, maybe.
It's possible. Was 0510 trying to help contain SCP-0031 or release it? The document doesn't say, which is honestly the most disturbing part of all this.
The monster under the bed might not be the biggest problem you've got.
Exactly. And then there's Dr. Moose's final statement. She said, and I quote, "If she breaches again, we have to be there first."
We have to be there first. What's that supposed to mean? It's not just about containment, is it? It's almost like we're supposed to guide it.
Or maybe be guided by it. Which leads us to the heart of this whole thing. We've barely scratched the surface here. SCP-003, it's not just an anomaly, it's a doorway. A glimpse into a reality that's far bigger and far stranger than we can possibly imagine. And if we're not careful, it could be the only reality we have left.
SCP-003. Just one more reason why RAISA has the worst job of the Foundation. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, stay curious.